Are all things equally corrosive in relationship? Actually, they aren't. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, John Gottman has dubbed these as the most corrosive to relationships. They are the biggest predictors of divorce. They are criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling. Now, criticism is any time you take a problem and you put that problem inside your partner's body. So in other words, the problem is not between us. The problem is you. Now, women exceed men in criticism. This is not to blame women, because oftentimes they become critical because they don't feel that they're being listened to. But criticism is very corrosive to relationships. Basically, you're saying, you're the problem. You didn't do the dishes last night. What is wrong with you? Anytime you can add to your sentence, what is wrong with you, you're in criticism. Now, there is an antidote to criticism, and it's not don't criticize. None of the antidotes to the four horsemen are just don't do them. They all have active responses. And the response to criticism, the alternative, is to complain without blaming your partner. Use an I statement. Use a gentle startup. Why do you want to do that? Because you want to be effective. You want your partner to hear your complaint. So it's okay to say, boy, I'm really disappointed that you didn't do the dishes last night when you said you would. Would you please do them? Now, can we always do that? No. But more often than not, if we can complain gently and not criticize, we're going to be more effective with our partners. And the second horseman is defensiveness. Defensiveness is really like you're warding off an attack. You're defending yourself, protesting your innocence. And the problem with defensiveness is that the person is not taking any responsibility for the problem. And so their partner is likely to feel like they're not being heard, that their side isn't being considered at all. And the antidote to defensiveness is to take some responsibility for the problem. That really helps keep your conversations alive and helps you have the difficult conversations that you need to be having. Now, another way to be defensive is to whine like an innocent victim. Well, I did so do the dishes. And again, that's not going to be effective. All right. The third horseman, I want you to really listen to this one, because of all of them, it is the most corrosive. The third horseman is contempt. And you'll see with the other three, there are active things that you can do, active antidotes to use instead of the horseman. But with this one, which is contempt, you really have to change your habit of mind. Because contempt is any time you take a situation and you see yourself as superior to your partner. Any way that you imply in the relationship that you are better than, smarter than, anything like that, more educated. These are ways that cause your partner to really resent you, right? You don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that you love, that you feel is looking down on you. And oftentimes, the thing with contempt is it really starts with ourselves. We tend to, when we're in contempt, we're also in self-contempt. We're very hard on ourselves and subsequently very hard on our partners. And so the antidote to contempt is really to change your habit of mind. So you want to build in your relationship with yourself and with your partner a culture of appreciation, really noticing things that your partner is doing right and getting the words out of your mouth and sharing with them. That is the antidote to contempt. Now, the fourth horseman is stonewalling. And that's kind of an interesting one because it really is the absence of things. In other words, the stonewaller is like a stone wall. You're talking to them and they're not tracking you. They're not following you. They're not responding. They may even get up and leave the room. 80% of stonewallers are men. Now that doesn't mean that women can't stonewall too. And when they do, it's very, very serious because women don't usually stonewall. We tend to criticize. So the antidote to stonewalling, and it's really kind of interesting because where it comes from is that stonewallers are actually feeling overwhelmed with emotion. Now it doesn't look that way. It looks like they don't care. And nothing is going to escalate, particularly a woman, more than looking at their partner across at them and seeing and believing that they don't care. But the fact is, they are so overwhelmed with emotion that they kind of short circuit. Like if you pulled a plug on a speaker and everything just went silent. That's what it's like for them. And if you took their heart rate, the heart rate most likely would be escalated, in excess of 100 beats per minute, or higher than they would normally be at resting rate. And the stonewaller, the antidote for the stonewaller is really that they have to calm down. They have to learn to soothe themselves. And eventually, a couple can get to a point where they can kind of soothe each other and know when they need to take breaks because nothing good is going to come out of that conversation. They need to take breaks, they need to calm down, and then they need to come back and have the conversation that they're meant to have, that they need to have. So the four horsemen, as dire as they sound when we talk about them as predictors of divorce, they all have alternative ways of interacting. And really, it's about developing new habits. It's very, I'm not going to say easy to do, but very doable. You really have to be mindful about it. And so important to your relationship.